Hello, Beattie boy here. British People's League having great problems this morning. What's new? Do I get the crying over with now? It's been horrible. I just restarted the computer and hopefully this will take. I've been getting message that it wouldn't convert to video file, whatever the hell that means. Hey, it's Beattie. Hello, 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 hello. And it is September 25th, 2015. Now you have to admit I've got patience with the gray hair. I have spent 3 hours trying to get this video on air for you, our faithful fans of British people. Dinosaur News. Dinosaur News brought to you by the British People's League. I can hardly call myself International Director of the British People's League when I can't even run a YouTube which 10-year-olds can run. Shame, shame, shame. Well, here we are. I just shut the computer down and shut her back up, and so far it's taking. I did a test run, checked through the video playlist or whatever, and the test came on. So hopefully this will work. I should have the spiel down to a T. I hate that word spiel, but I used it, didn't I? So first off, September 25th, 2015, British People's League Dinosaur News. Candor latest edition, read all about it. It has been received in the mail by yours truly, so I expect it's being received elsewhere. Time to fly the Confederate battle flag worldwide. We are all rebels. It's beautiful, very eye-catching. It is their latest edition, and it is issue number 861. 861, September 2015, volume 75, number 8. Candor can be reached at candor.org.uk. Candor, C-A-N-D-O-U-R, candor.org.uk. Our brothers in patriotism. And I'll be grinning at myself a lot more through this attempt. Hopefully it's going to take before my nerves crash. What kind of spokesperson have you got out there anyway? An old gray-haired dude who can't run a YouTube. Okay, the other is, of course, we're favored with Candor, is because they run reciprocal ads for us. Here's the Dinosaur News and the latest flyer with the latest edition. I hope my Twitch lasts long enough that you can read. British People's League, Box 691, Minden, Ontario. Now, that is the preferred mailing address. British People's League, P.O. Box 691, Box 691, Minden, Ontario, M-I-N-D-E-N, Minden, Ontario, Canada. K-O-M, that's Kiss Our Mothers, K-O-M, 2-K-O. Ha! How much patience has a person got? I glanced at the flag came up good, and the Queen Victoria, the setup now. So we got the setup going. Quit crying, Beattie. I'm just in a state of shock, and I hope that this attempt takes. I think it's going to, as I did a test run. How are you today? Today's topic is our culture with a question mark. Our culture with a question mark. Referring specifically to British Canadians. Had quite a discussion this past weekend with a young, astute fellow, 25 years old, raised with the love everyone crowd. We love our own kind. If we've got enough room left in our heart for other tribes, well, so be it. But we're selfish British Canadians. Our cities have become lost, just as in Mother Britannia, the cities are lost to multiculturalism. What are we supposed to do? Love that? Our culture smothered, smashed to bits, poured down into the sewers? Europe being invaded. It's all out there. It's headlines. Everything predicted by this little boy here decades ago, all coming true. Do you think I like it? Now we're getting an interest. Now that it's the battle, legal battle. How do you have a legal battle? Well, we can battle for the minds of our young people, like the 25-year-old. The main thrust of this boy in the debate was simply British Canadians have a culture. There were a few witnesses to the debate. They didn't even know what a culture was. One lady did. What are samples of our British Canadian culture? Highland games, bagpipes, royal family, members of the royal family that are worthy, anthems, Christianity, the old-time religion in the villages, where they just ignore the multicolored edicts and still sing the good old hymns, white Christianity. Let's call it that, white Christianity in the villages. There are 1,000 villages in Ontario, 1,000 villages, and they're majority white. There's maybe 50 multicults in the villages. The further north you go. You can't go too far north. Be in the tundra. But the villages that I'm talking about, look up on a map of Ontario. All the little dots across Ontario, east and west. They're there, ripe for patriotism. And the interest is growing now that the headlines can't be squashed in the so-called public news media, public brain dirtying, but they can't squash it any longer, the invasion from Europe. Now, from Europe, you'd say, how could it be an invasion from Europe? Well, they come from Africa, they come from Asia, they hit Europe, and then from Europe they're dispensed to here, to Canada land. Or Mexicans coming across the border from America into Canada land. Is Europe already lost? Not quite. Not quite. Candor Publishing are strong and strident, and they have ads from different groups who are doing their best to save the motherland. It's nearly midnight on the clock. It's a close call, but previous videos by yours truly here, the British People's League, have emphasized all of this. We've got nearly 100 videos now. What can we add? Our culture. You know, the founders of Canada, Sir John Alexander Macdonald, he was born in Glasgow, Scotland. He wasn't born in China. He wasn't born in Bombay. He wasn't born in Karachi. He wasn't born in Buenos Aires. He wasn't born in Mexico. He was born in Glasgow, Scotland. British Canadians have a culture in unique ways. The villages is where you find our culture, the white village life. Games like softball, hockey, of course, and inter-village tournaments. And the Union Jack, as in our Canadian flag, the red ensign behind me, the Union Jack is still in provincial banners, the Ontario provincial flag, British Columbia provincial flag, Manitoba provincial flag, the Union Jack is still there. That's a symbol of our British Canadian culture. And in the emblems, rather than just the provincial flags, in the provincial emblems are symbols from good old wise people. W for Wales, I for Ireland, S for Scotland, E for England, wise people. The emblems are still there. We're holding on, but the villages are holding on, that's for sure. It's our last hope to rescue the cities from the multicolored scourge. Quite a percentage of white people in the villages are white flighters. They've escaped from the multicolored horrors of the big city murders. They'll never admit, half of them, that's why they left. Oh, we left because of the traffic. Who's kidding who? But again, I'm not trying to insult faithful viewers who network with the British People's League as it is. I'm not trying to insult you. But I do want to get the odd newcomer, the odd newbie. Hopefully you just don't click in to get fresh headlines this September 25th, 2015, or a fresh inspiration. That's good to get a fresh inspiration, but please review past videos. We have a different take on what's going on of interest to those of British stock around the globe. In the British People's League, we do like to stand for British peoples around the globe, our British Australian friends, Kiwis, and New Zealand, British American friends. Check out the purpose of the British People's League. It too is linked on the column on the BritishPeoplesLeague.com. You'll see purpose of the British People's League. It outlines in detail the purpose. Okay, repetitive. So do you know who you are? Well, faithful viewers do know. If you're just a newbie like the 25-year-old wondering about your own culture, somebody in the group discussion actually suggested that our culture is the culture of multiculturalism. Well, all the other cultures in multiculturalism have retained their culture, whether it's Arab, Jew, Hindu, Muslim, Chinese, they kept their culture. What about our culture? Fortunately, we've still got in the villages. When I ran for deputy reeve last year, I was more than pleased that one of the public forums, God Save the Queen, was played. And many villages still play God Save the Queen at public events as a symbol of our heritage, our culture. Get it? Got it? Good. I don't mean to be sarcastic to those on our blind list who are networking friends. We don't have members of the British People's League, networking friends who give me lots of good advice, a shadow cabinet. They've steered me on controversial issues. I will request of the British People's League the blind list that we have some opinions, and we keep that blind list very narrow in focus. We want it protected. So that's the scoop. We're just repeating the alarm, but it's in headlines on CNN every night now that a lot of people watch and view, the invasion. But those, of course, in the villages, it doesn't affect. You think, well, there's no problem. And it's not all glory in the white villages. Of course, it's liberalism. With the federal election coming up in October, I expect that the white villages will again back the Conservative government. It's the last of the old stock, and Harper, the Prime Minister, in running, slipped old stock into one of his speeches and is labeled as a racist because he dared to talk about the old stock with our European cousins. I mean, obviously, this is the British People's League YouTube show, Dinosaur News. But of course we respect the culture of our fellow white Europeans. And they did indeed assist the British Canadians in formulating Canada. Have to concede French Canadians were here first before British Canadians poured in. Wolfe. The Plains of Abraham settled the score. Throughout history, might is right, whether it was the Iroquois slaughtering other tribes, Indians fought each other, the MacLeods and whoever else in the clan wars in Scotland and the English Civil War. I have a rather crude expression, as long as man has testicles, there will be wars. So I guess the women's lib will go out now and try and castrate all of us. It's not nice, it's not pretty, but that's human nature. That's the way it has been, always will be. And when your people are threatened, you have to take a legal stand. I say legal underground. Legal underground. Just as Churchill formulated if the British Isles were invaded in World War II. Just as the French underground, the Dutch underground helped secure freedom in World War II. We can't arm ourselves. That's against the law. The citizenry cannot arm themselves except for hunting purposes. Hunting deer. Not talking hunting people. Heaven forbid. Legal networking underground with people from all walks of life, professionals, ordinary Joes, the little people, networking with the British People's League. BritishCanada@gmail.com. That's the email address. BritishCanada@gmail.com. What do we do with this networking? We get prepared. We become a pressure group, a legal pressure force on government bodies to stop illegal immigration. There's so many who don't care, but you have tuned in. You do care. Are you networking with us? Perhaps you've chosen a different white group to associate with. Well, that's fine and dandy as well. It's like a favorite coffee on the shelf in the supermarket. I mean, you're going to pick the coffee of your taste. Likewise with the white groups that are offering resistance. However, the British People's League are the only group, but we don't even call ourselves organization. We're the only networking spot promoting and protecting and preserving our British Canadian heritage, our British Canadian culture, and those likewise of British stock scattered around the globe, as is Candor. in the motherland. We work together. International networking for those of British stock. But Candor currently has a terrific plug for Hungarians, for the Hungarian government. So it shows we're not what's narrow-minded of British stock. Candor's plug. Check out candor.org.uk, and they're giving good plug for the Hungarian government who are taking a stand, keeping that fence high to stop the illegal invasion from Africa, etc., etc. Hungary, good old Hungary. They took the first stand against the communists, vicious communists who killed over 10 million during the Second World War, and afterwards really is what I meant. Slaughter in Ukraine. Well, even from the beginning of the Bolshevik Revolution, millions they killed. Little Hungary was the first to take a stand in 1956. Did the West help? No. There's a slight pause. The internet went off for a minute. Hungary took a stand in 1956. Slaughter of students and the older people and in the middle class. We didn't listen to Hungary. But eventually the Soviet Union collapsed through propaganda, international networking. Eventually they collapsed. Now Hungary is taking a stand again. Get rid of the damn European Union. Smash the bloody outfit. The little countries have got a right to put their borders up. The little European white countries, to stop the invasion. We think the ocean is going to be our barrier. Well, it isn't. You villagers tuned in, get in touch. Help us with you can. You know, $10 donation in an envelope. Just wrap it in a piece of paper. We've never had a pinch stolen from the mails. I got to give credit where credit's due. I've never had anything stolen from me in the mail or misplaced in my entire life. So there's that way to pitch in, or donate through PayPal, or through internet banking, britishcanada@gmail.com. If you're not tuned into donating cash, how about some time? Put up stickers or flyers with the contact point for these broadcasts. britishcanada@gmail.com or britishpeoplesleague.com. BPL, Dinosaur News. Just Dinosaur News. It'll get through in spite of all the other information about plain old dinosaurs like this boy. John Beattie YouTube. There's so many different ways to get into our information spot here. So think about it. Do you know what your culture really is all about? Is it worth pitching in? As said, with a little bit of funding, it'll go a long way with us. I can't pay all the bills out of my pension money, can I? I've got the house to maintain. It has a studio here for the British People's League. So there are internet bills. Well, there's the house to maintain. I wouldn't be able to do these broadcasts in subsidized housing or anything else. It's called a short tail. The enemy can't grab a hold because I have an income I can't be fired from, the pension. The house is owned by yours truly. We realize that people have jobs, can't stick their neck out in the job. Everyone in the cities is called a racist. I get this through my international friends, my international contacts, those are British stock, Europeans, squished in the jobs if they open their mouths. So that's why I'm a label on the ketchup bottle at this time. There's other people much more capable than I, but perhaps they're still in their career. So you stuck with what you got, Beattie boy here. John Beattie, International Director of the British People's League, along with our friends Candor in Britain, Mother Britannia, along with our friends League of the South in America, League of the South in America. Various outlets for you to choose. Okay, I am looking at the time, where time's running out, the 20-minute bit. Keep it legal. God save the Queen.